For most of my young life, I have lived by the shield. Protecting myself, defending those I love, as well as the voiceless, the downtrodden, those that cannot help themselves. Social justice warrior, I was called, as if it were an insult. Giving my last dime to those who needed it more than I did, helping anyone in any way that I could, loving my neighbor, following the path of peace. And seemingly it has done nothing but left me utterly alone, vilified, demonized. No good deed goes unpunished, I suppose, and so now I believe the time has come for me to be a bit selfish. For it seems as though, somewhere along the way, I have earned some enemies. Enemies that, for some reason, believe that I fear them. Enemies that believe that they can intimidate me. Enemies that think they know the truth but only believe lies because it makes them feel better about themselves. Hypocrites, liars, warmongers, fueled by the hatred in their shriveled, blackened hearts. Indeed, it is time for me to take up arms to defend myself, to show them that I am not afraid. It is time for me to start living by the sword. I need to start fighting. Fighting for what I want, for what I need, for what I believe in. It's time for me to defend myself. To strike back at their lies with the truth, slicing through them, cutting them down with a shimmering blade of justice. This begins with dressing how I want to dress. Makeup and elf ears have long been accessories I have used on the internet. Now, along with my blade, I will wear these with pride out in the light of day, unabashed, unafraid. I used to fear drawing attention to myself. Now, like a creature warning predators of its own toxin, I will proudly adorn my brightest colors, and I will do so with a smirk on my face. It is war paint, for I find myself at war, perhaps with an entire town, perhaps with my own mind. Either way, I will emerge victorious. There is much to be said about the sword. First forged around 3300 BC within the legendary Bronze Age, said to be the oldest in the world, these blades were an evolution of the dagger. They have been found in Arslantepe, I don't know how to pronounce that, Turkey, and are made from arsenical bronze. Countless wars have been fought with swords, and thus oceans of blood have been flowed from wounds caused by them. Some of those lost souls were innocent, to be sure. Others deserved the fear, dread, and agony they endured until they closed their eyes forever. War is a tragic thing, waged by old, spoiled, rich men, but fought by poor young people, sent to their deaths for truly no reward. They're lied to, brainwashed, promised the American dream, which has warped into a twisted nightmare over time. Also, countless kings can gather more wealth, more power. Am I at war? Perhaps. It isn't by choice, that's for certain. But I'm not going to surrender anytime soon. Not to an army of dark, corrupted knights and their inbred, brainwashed goons. The blade itself spread throughout countless countries and has evolved over time. Technology and materials changed, and thus so did they. Blacksmiths worked to perfect their art, their craft, only to have the weapons slowly phased out in favor of guns upon the appearance of gunpowder. Although I do enjoy guns, I much prefer the blade to the pistol. It is far too easy to kill a man with a bullet than it is a sword. All it takes is a trembling finger to take a life. With a sword, one has to know what he wants and work for it. Am I swearing myself off of guns? no, though I do think gun reform is much needed, as the people that worship them in our current political climate seem to have the most psychotic murderous tendencies, but I'd love to learn how to handle a revolver. I believe that LGBTQIA+ people should all be given firearms to protect themselves, because the right wing has proven that it has a target on our backs time and time again. There is something to be said about that. The people that love guns so much shouldn't be allowed anywhere near them. It's far too easy for them to kill, and they seem to relish in taking innocent lives. The hatred in their hearts is truly unfathomable. This is why I believe so many people on the left dislike guns, because those that worship them far too often get to live outside of the law. They hide behind shimmering badges and shining cross necklaces while spreading dark hatred and unfettered violence throughout the world. So the ones that need protection are far too afraid to take up arms in fear of being punished by a system that actively seeks their undoing. It is truly a tragedy. Will I one day wield a gun? Perhaps. If only to protect myself and those I love from those that would see my suffering. But for now, I choose to live by the sword. Live by the sword, die by the sword. It's what they say. But what they fail to mention is that men like me, if we're going to die, we want to go out swinging. Call it spite, call it a hatred for authority, call it rebellion, but a dying an honorable death is really all we want. And if I'm to be killed, I want to die fighting. It's kind of funny. As an atheist, I'm no longer afraid of death. Only as a Christian did I fear the afterlife. Now the idea of no longer existing seems incredibly peaceful to me. Restful. So with all this being said, I leave my loved ones with this message. If I am to be killed in battle, do not mourn me. Honor me. Be proud of me for going down on my own terms, for fighting until my very last breath. I fight with love, for truth, light, and justice. And may my blade strike true. For I have finally unearthed the courage I've sought for so long, the courage I so desperately needed to fight back, and to my enemies I wish you strength, for though I know you will not fight with honor, I want you to realize that I'm not going down so easily. Bitch!